Good evening everyone, and once again welcome back to Background Historian. Tonight we will take a more prehistoric path. We will explore the entire history of our prehistoric predecessors. If you're into dinosaurs, strap in, relax, and let the story of our ancient ancestors put you to sleep. Let's begin. Drift back with me, not years or centuries, but hundreds of millions of years ago. Imagine silence, not just the quiet of night, but the heavy silence of a planet that is healing, scorched, cracked, and still recovering from the greatest extinction it has ever known. This is not a place for the faint-hearted. This is Earth, 252 million years ago. This is the dawn of the Triassic period, and the very first heartbeat of the age of dinosaurs. A planet in recovery. The Earth was not always as we know it. Picture it, a single, massive landmass, Pangaea, stretching from pole to pole. All of Earth's continents, now so separate and familiar to us, were once locked together in this supercontinent. The world was hot, dry, and inhospitable in many places. There were vast deserts inland, created by the supercontinent's immense size that limited the moisture from ocean breezes. Volcanoes smoked on the horizon. Thunderstorms rolled in, heavy and sudden, sweeping across dry plains, feeding scrappy, resilient vegetation, ferns, horsetails, and gymnosperms clinging to survival. It is a world trying to regrow. Just 2 million years earlier, the Permian-Triassic extinction event had wiped out nearly 90% of all marine species and about 70% of terrestrial vertebrates. Entire ecosystems collapsed. Coral reefs vanished. Insects nearly disappeared. The skies dimmed with volcanic gases. Even the air was different, thicker with carbon dioxide, oxygen levels lower than today. This world is unfamiliar, yet strangely foundational. The survivors were tough, adaptable. Synapsids, the ancestors of mammals, scurried and sniffed along riverbanks. Amphibians with wide, flat heads lurked in shallow waters. Reptiles began to take on new shapes and roles, and deep within this reshuffling of life, something new stirred, something that would change the face of Earth forever. The first dinosaurs, small beginnings. Let's follow one now. She is small, lithe, and fast, barely taller than your knee. She moves through the underbrush quietly, alert to sounds. Her name, though she doesn't know it, will one day be Eoraptor, dawn thief. She is among the earliest dinosaurs. Her long tail helps her balance, and her three-toed feet pad silently over fallen leaves and ancient mud. Eoraptor lives in what is now Argentina, and she shares her home with other early reptiles, including the fierce Herrerasaurus, who may not be fully dinosaur, but is certainly a predator. The forest is her haven and her hunting ground. She eats insects, small vertebrates, and maybe even plants. She doesn't look like the dinosaurs in our imagination, no massive frame, no thunderous footsteps. But in her agile frame lies a promise: evolution has found something new. What makes her a dinosaur? Not size, not teeth. The secret lies in her hips, in the way her legs sit directly beneath her body, allowing her to move efficiently. Her bones are hollow, light but strong. Her gait is swift. And though the skies are ruled by insects, and the rivers by amphibians, the land, bit by bit, will soon belong to creatures like her. Pangaea, a world without borders. As we drift across the vastness of Pangaea, we pass over deserts and mountains, lakes and forests. The climate is harsh, but varied. Near the coastlines, vegetation thrives. There are forests of ginkgo trees, patches of ferns, and cycads growing in clusters. The fauna is equally diverse. In North America, small reptiles scurry among dry leaves. In Europe, early crocodilian ancestors bask on riverbanks. In what will become Asia, amphibians rule the wetlands. There is no Atlantic Ocean yet, just a long, continuous coastline stretching for thousands of miles. The lack of continental barriers allows life to spread across huge distances. A species that evolves in one corner of Pangaea can migrate thousands of miles without crossing an ocean. But this connectivity also means that extinction events, like droughts or disease, can affect vast regions. Still, life finds a way. The rise of archosaurs. Among the many reptiles that roam this recovering Earth, one group begins to rise above the rest, the archosaurs. This lineage will give rise not only to the dinosaurs but also to the pterosaurs, the flying reptiles, and to crocodilians, who will become Earth's most enduring reptilian survivors. Archosaurs have upright posture, strong limbs, and efficient lungs. They are better built for the changing climate and emerging ecosystems. While synapsids, mammal ancestors, are pushed into ecological corners, archosaurs begin to dominate. One group of archosaurs, the Ornithodora, includes the earliest flying reptiles and the direct ancestors of dinosaurs. Evolution is branching in bold directions. It's not just survival anymore, it's innovation. Life among rivals. Eoraptor is not alone. The Triassic landscape teems with competition. Herrerasaurus is larger, nearly 10 feet long, and likely one of the apex predators of the time. It hunts other reptiles and maybe even early dinosaurs. Then there's Plateosaurus, one of the first large herbivores in the dinosaur lineage. It walks on 2 legs, but sometimes shifts to 4 for stability. It browses for cycads and ginkgos, feeding slowly, tail dragging a furrow in the earth. Early mammals appear, too. Tiny and warm-blooded, they live in burrows and come out only at night. Insects, roaches, beetles, and ancient dragonflies buzz low in the vegetation. The world is a web of competition and cooperation. Evolution favors adaptability. Those that can't change vanish. Those that can, thrive. The end of the Triassic. The Triassic period lasts roughly 50 million years. It is a time of experimentation, rebuilding, and quiet revolution. By its end, dinosaurs are still only a fraction of the land-dwelling vertebrates. But the winds of change are blowing. A new mass extinction event is coming. Volcanic activity increases, especially in what will become the Central Atlantic magmatic province. Lava flows for miles. Carbon dioxide levels rise. Global temperatures spike. Ocean acidification kills off many marine species. On land, once again, life faces collapse. And this time, the survivors are dinosaurs. With their upright gait, fast metabolisms, and efficient respiratory systems, dinosaurs are poised to take over. The extinction of their competitors opens new niches, new opportunities. As the Triassic ends and the Jurassic period begins, dinosaurs surge forward in size, diversity, and dominance. A last look back. Before we leave the Triassic behind, pause for a moment. Picture a dusk-lit forest. The air is thick with the scent of wet earth and ginkgo leaves. The sun sets behind volcanic hills, casting long shadows over a quiet river. Eoraptor stands still, her eyes scanning the treetops, her breath slow and steady. She does not know what's coming. She does not know she is at the dawn of a dynasty. But she is there, one of the first to walk the path that will lead to titans, to flyers, to birds, and eventually, to us. Transitioning to dreams. Let that image stay with you. The soft rustle of ferns. The chirr of insects. The distant call of a primitive reptile. A world awakening after devastation. A new lineage taking its first tentative steps. This was the beginning of the dinosaurs' reign. And now, let your mind drift gently, like fog over a Triassic marsh. Let the heartbeat of ancient Earth lull you. We will return soon, to walk with the giants of the Jurassic. But for now, sleep beneath the stars of deep time. Breathe slowly, and let your thoughts carry you away, further still along the endless current of time. We have left the Triassic behind, like a dream fading at dawn. It is now the dawn of a new age. A world of change, of warmth, and of wonder. A world where the Earth belongs not to the small and fleeting, but to giants. Welcome to the Jurassic. A changed planet. Roughly 201 million years ago, the Triassic-Jurassic extinction event left the Earth changed yet again. Many of the old competitors, the large amphibians, most mammal-like reptiles, and several reptilian clades, vanished from the land. What remained was a cleaner slate, and the early dinosaurs stepped forward to fill the vacuum. The Earth is still warming, and the supercontinent Pangaea is beginning to split apart. Slowly, imperceptibly, great rifts form, dividing what will one day become North America, Europe, and Africa. From these rifts, volcanic activity spews lava and gas, and tectonic motion sends shockwaves beneath the surface. As these plates drift, they shape new oceans and coastlines. And yet, life does what it always does. It adapts. It grows. It flourishes. The forests of the Jurassic. Take a moment to imagine the world as it was then. The air is humid, thick with the scent of moss and ancient pine. Towering conifer trees stretch toward a hazy sky. Beneath their canopy, cycads and tree ferns form a prehistoric underbrush, spreading a green carpet that rolls over gentle hills and marshy lowlands. There are no flowers yet, no birdsong, no grasses, but there is life in every corner. Insects buzz from branch to branch. Dragonflies with wingspans wider than your hand flit over streams. Giant millipedes curl beneath logs. And on the edges of this lush wilderness, giants are waking. Sauropods, architects of awe. Step softly as we enter a clearing, and witness one of evolution's most astonishing feats, the sauropods. Here is Vulcanodon, one of the early long-necked dinosaurs. Perhaps 20 feet long and weighing a few tons, she grazes calmly on low-growing plants. Her feet, thick, column-like, press gentle craters into the moist soil. Her neck sways with the slow grace of a tree branch in wind. But Vulcanodon is merely a glimpse of what's to come. As the Jurassic progresses, sauropods grow larger, more numerous, and more magnificent. Cetiosaurus, Barapasaurus, Shunosaurus, and then, later, the majestic Apatosaurus and Diplodocus. These are animals of mythic scale, 80 feet long, weighing more than 20 tons, their very movement causing the ground to tremble. Their long necks allow them to reach the highest branches, and their stomachs churn through vast quantities of plant matter. Despite their size, they are peaceful. Herd animals. Family-bound. Slow but steady. They are the architects of their ecosystems, knocking down trees, reshaping rivers, and fertilizing the soil as they pass. They are more than creatures. They are forces of nature. Carnivores of the Jurassic, balanced predators. But even in this age of giants, balance remains. For every towering herbivore, there is a predator watching from the trees. Dilophosaurus is one of them, slender, sleek, and quick. He's perhaps 20 feet long, with two distinct crests on his skull. Despite his fame in pop culture, there is no evidence he spat venom or had a frilled neck. But he was an agile hunter, likely preying on smaller reptiles and juveniles of larger species. In Europe, the fearsome Megalosaurus stalks the woodlands. In China, there's Sinosaurus, and in North America, newcomers like Ceratosaurus and Allosaurus will soon rise. They're not yet the apex predators we think of when we imagine the Cretaceous. But they are faster, smarter, and more specialized than their Triassic predecessors. Their teeth are serrated. Their claws sharp. Their senses keen. They, too, are evolving. Pangaea splits, new worlds emerge. The Earth continues its tectonic ballet. Where once there was one landmass, now great fissures deepen. The Atlantic Ocean is forming. South America begins to pull away from Africa. India starts drifting northeast. These changes take millions of years, but the biological consequences are profound. As landmasses separate, species begin to diverge. Island evolution begins. Habitats fragment. Climate zones shift. Rainforests expand in some areas, while deserts arise in others. Where dinosaurs once traveled freely, now oceans form barriers. This creates provinciality, the beginnings of different ecosystems on different continents. In this sense, the Jurassic is not only an age of growth, it is an age of divergence. A sky of wings. Above the forests, something even more astonishing has taken to the air. The pterosaurs, relatives of the dinosaurs, rule the skies. These are not birds, they are flying reptiles, masters of the wind. Here is Dimorphodon, gliding on wings of membrane stretched between elongated fingers. He lands on a rocky outcrop, his head large and toothy, his tail balancing him like a kite. In the skies behind him, Rhamphorhynchus soars, catching fish with precision. Some pterosaurs are small, darting like swallows. Others, especially in the later Jurassic, grow to the size of fighter jets. They nest on cliffs. They hunt over oceans. And for millions of years, they are the only vertebrates to master the skies. Birds will come later. For now, these are the rulers above. Evolution in motion. Let us pause and appreciate the breadth of this evolutionary dance. In the oceans, plesiosaurs with long necks glide through shallow seas. Ichthyosaurs, dolphin-like reptiles, hunt with speed and grace. Ammonites, with spiral shells and tentacled faces, drift through the currents in massive numbers, providing food for many. On land, new dinosaur families appear. The first stegosaurs raise their plated backs in defense. The ankylosaurs begin developing armor. And early members of the ornithopods, such as Camptosaurus, begin to evolve more sophisticated chewing mechanisms. Plants evolve too. The forests become more layered. Conifers spread across the globe. The earth is becoming greener, richer, more varied. This is an ecosystem in full bloom. Nightlife, the mammalian underdogs. While dinosaurs dominate the day, the night belongs to the early mammals. Tiny, shrew-like creatures with fur and fast metabolisms, they burrow, scurry, and survive in the shadows. They eat insects and small reptiles. They give live birth. They care for their young. One such creature is Morganeucodon, a small insectivore with large eyes and a warm body. Her kind will not rise to prominence for another 135 million years, but they persist, quietly, patiently, awaiting their turn. Every dynasty has its beginning. The harmony of Jurassic life. There is something almost utopian about the early to mid-Jurassic world. There are no flowers yet. No hummingbirds. No grasses or bees. But life is robust. Dinosaurs rule the land. Pterosaurs fill the skies. Marine reptiles dominate the seas. Mammals thrive at night. Insects pollinate the forests. And the earth, once desolate after mass extinction, now teems with complex, interconnected life. It is a harmony that feels eternal, but of course, nothing in nature is. The Jurassic, like the Triassic, will one day give way. But for tens of millions of years, it is the age of giants. A moment in deep time. Let's return once more to the forest. It is late afternoon. The sun filters through the conifers in golden shafts. A herd of Apatosaurus moves slowly through the undergrowth, their footsteps shaking the ground ever so slightly. High above, Pterodactylus soars over the treetops. Nearby, a juvenile Stegosaurus examines a fern with quiet curiosity. There is no rush. No war. No empire. Just the quiet, eternal rhythm of life. And beneath it all, the deep pulse of Earth itself. Transition to dreams. Now, as you drift towards sleep, let your thoughts wander through that forest. Let the warm air wrap around you. Let the calls of distant reptiles echo softly in your mind. The age of the giants has begun. And in our next journey together, we'll walk deeper into this golden world, into the height of the Jurassic. But for now, rest well, and dream of a time when giants walked the earth. Part 3, Kingdoms of the Middle Jurassic, the Golden Age of Sauropods and Stegosaurs. Close your eyes and exhale softly. Allow the rhythmic hum of your breath to pull you back into a time where Earth was measured not in days, but in ages and epochs. You've traveled with me from the Triassic, through the tremors of extinction and the rising of dinosaurs small and swift. Now, we step into the Middle Jurassic, a time when life blossomed in grand form. When Earth grew lush, green, and vast. When the first true, towering giants roamed, sauropods. And when plated dinosaurs, stegosaurs, began their majestic reign. Welcome to the kingdoms of giants. A cleaner, greener Earth. Roughly 170 million years ago, Earth's surface is subtly shifting under sky and sea. The rift valleys that began to crack Pangaea are widening, continents start to drift into familiar shapes, though still joined by land bridges. The climate is warm and moist, marked by distinct wet and dry seasons. Conifers dominate the woodlands. Ferns, horsetails, and cycads color the undergrowth. Surrounded by these forests, dinosaurs of majestic scale emerge, like living mountains that breathe. A sound, like steady rain filtered through leaves, echoes in the forest. That might be a herd of Cetiosaurus, moving slowly through the mist. Once thought to be marine reptiles, their name means whale lizard, but they belong firmly to the land, massive, uncertain steps made with unwavering grace. Cetiosaurus, first among the giants. Among the earliest and most complete Middle Jurassic sauropods is Cetiosaurus, discovered in what is now the British Isles. In the hush of early evening, a small herd drifts through tree trunks, their necks stretching toward fronds above. They browse low-level vegetation, or, if they pitch upward on their hind legs, perhaps sway to grasp branches higher still. Cetiosaurus embodies the new world's grace through size. Not yet the absolute tallest, but vast enough to dwarf any human. In their silent procession you feel their world-shaping presence, giants reborn from evolutionary roots. From many specimens, a few survivors. Our path winds onward, and something shifts in the light. These forests are pollinated by the first ferns that glow faintly in the dusk. Insects hum unseen, and above, a small Proceratosaurus flits through the branches, perhaps chasing lizards or stealing fruit. This small theropod is an ancestor of later tyrannosaurs. Its sharp eyes and keen ears are reminders that while giants move slowly, there are predators always watching. In distant lands, Italy, England, Morocco, and China, early stegosaurs are appearing in the fossil record: Wyangosaurus, Loricatosaurus, Adratoclite, Isobarosaura, and Bashanosaurus. Rare, yes, but they mark the dawn of armored grace. Stegosaur dawn, armor of the earth. In the mud of what will become European floodplains lies Wyangosaurus, one of the earliest known stegosaurs. Imagine it, low-slung, sturdy, with plates and spikes shimmering like carved jade in twilight. Its plates aren't the giant sails of later days, but beautiful, delicate shields aligned along its spine. Through time, stegosaurs evolve. By late Jurassic lands, such as North America's Stegosaurus, they stand majestic, a walking cathedral adorned with arched plates and a spiked tail. Their presence is both regal and formidable. The mighty Stegosaurus. Let us walk among them. In Colorado's Morrison Formation sandstone emerges silhouettes, Stegosaurus, shaped by mystery and awe. Their plates rise high against the sky. The tail, armed with significantly dangerous thagomizers, named after a Flintstones joke that stuck, swings low, a warning of power. Stegosaurus were not just defensive, they may have displayed, cooled off, or signaled their kin through plate coloration. Young ones, perhaps smaller and less methodical, learn how to wield their tails from elders. In these golden swamps, herds likely meandered along rivers, guarding calves, grazing, living. Giants of record, Brachiosaurus and Diplodocus. Journey now deeper into the Morrison floodplain. Emerging through mist and dawn stands Brachiosaurus, a creature that redefined large. With forelimbs longer than its hind limbs and a giraffe-like posture, it raised its head over 50 feet above the earth to dine from the tops of tall conifers. Beside it strides Diplodocus, whose horizontal length spread more than 80 feet, tail trailing behind like a giant whip. These two giants occupy different feeding niches, one a tower, the other a long-armed browser. They do not compete, they coexist. Feel vibrations beneath your feet. That is Brachiosaurus stepping forward, massive but surprisingly gentle, a living cathedral in motion. The predator's shadow, Allosaurus. No world of giants exists without predators. Silence breaks at the edge of the swamp, then a pair of yellow eyes shine. Allosaurus crouches, weight shifted, ready. Not yet the tyrant of pop culture, but a proven apex predator of the late Jurassic. Its bite powerful, its limbs agile, it can bring down mammoth prey with strategy and strength. Herds scatter at its approach. Calves hide. The predator surveys, calculating. In their world, every day is life, and every night blends into dream. Ecosystems of elegance. Pause here in that moment. Around you, the Jurassic hums in slow motion. Dinosaurs of every stripe, plant eaters and hunters, flyers above, swimmers in lakes, live out ancient rhythms. Middle Jurassic sites like Dushanpu in China reveal astonishing diversity: sauropods, stegosaurs, theropods, basal ornithischians, crocodiliforms, amphibians, turtles, pterosaurs, even therapsids. Over 200 individuals and 29 species remind us that Earth's tapestry was rich, layered, raw, and alive. Growth, plates, and mystery. Back among the stegosaurs. Consider their plates again. Stegosaurus had as many as 17 to 22 plates, arranged in staggered rows. They varied in shape across species, from smoother parallelograms to tall, rounded shields. The tail spikes number 4, lethal, defensive. Fossil injuries show they were used in combat. Their brains, though small, orchestrated titanic defenses on demand. Yet plates might not just be weapons. They might have glowed in the sun, showy signals to rivals, mates, or threats. Theories whisper of thermoregulation, plates as solar radiators absorbing or dissipating heat. Or perhaps they define species, sexes, or ages, painted banners traveling across prehistoric plains. The Middle Jurassic life is full of wonder, unresolved questions, and beauty. Setting into sleep, echoes of giants. Now, sense the forest fade beneath the slow pulse of your breathing. The leaves hush. The dinosaurs march on. Cetiosaurus in twilight, Stegosaurus staking quiet territories, Brachiosaurus reaching higher branches, and Allosaurus slipping into shadows. The heartbeat of that world was vast and deep. And tonight, as you listen, their echoes cradle your mind. Sleep now, drift through conifer forests, stand beneath towering sauropods, walk alongside ancestral stegosaurs. In dreams, let them walk with you. Part 4, Flourishing Forests, Late Jurassic Ecosystems and Dinosaur Communities. Settle in now, dear listener. Let your breath soften, your body grow still, and your thoughts drift far away from the present. We're traveling again, back into the distant past, to the late Jurassic period, a world both ancient and deeply alive. This is the age when dinosaur ecosystems reach an extraordinary maturity. The giants of the earth do not just survive, they thrive. Forests stretch endlessly, rivers carve through fertile lands, and vast herds gather across open plains. Tonight, we'll walk through those ecosystems, listening to the whispers of fern leaves, the low thunder of sauropod herds, and the fleeting cries of predators beneath a golden sun. We will become part of a living, breathing world that existed nearly 150 million years ago. A changing Earth, from rift to rainforest. The late Jurassic, spanning from approximately 163 to 145 million years ago, represents one of the richest periods in dinosaur history. Tectonic forces continue to reshape the Earth, but in the midst of upheaval, life finds a foothold and flourishes. The supercontinent Pangaea, which once connected nearly all land masses, has now begun to split into two major continents, Laurasia in the north, and Gondwana in the south. Shallow seas advance into inland areas, creating lush environments with varied ecosystems. Climate remains warm and humid in most areas, though arid zones exist too. There are no polar ice caps. Instead, forests of conifers, ginkgos, cycads, and tree ferns dominate the landscape. On the forest floor, mosses, horsetails, and mushrooms thrive in damp shade. Birds do not yet rule the skies, but their ancestors are here. Flowers have not yet evolved, but seeds and spores carry life forward. The rise of the Morrison Formation. In what is now the western United States, a vast floodplain stretches for hundreds of miles. Rivers wind their way across mudflats, depositing layers of sediment. It is here that one of the most iconic and fossil-rich formations in the world is born, the Morrison Formation. Spanning across states like Colorado, Utah, and Wyoming, the Morrison preserves a snapshot of late Jurassic life, an extraordinary glimpse into a complex and dynamic ecosystem. Let's take a gentle walk through these prehistoric plains. Dawn among the giants. Imagine soft rays of morning sun filtering through conifer branches, casting golden light on a dew-laced forest. A gentle rumble rolls across the ground, barely audible at first, but growing steadily. From between the trees emerges a herd of sauropods, their long necks stretching high above the canopy. You might see Apatosaurus, once known as Brontosaurus, swinging its massive tail like a balancing pendulum. Beside it walks a Camarasaurus, shorter but stockier, its nostrils perched atop a vaulted head. These creatures are not solitary, they move in groups, likely for protection, and perhaps for companionship. Each step leaves a shallow basin in the muddy soil, a footprint that may harden into stone. You hear them breathe. You feel their presence. It is like standing beside mountains that move. A sky that watches. Look up. The wind changes slightly, and you catch a glimpse of shadows slicing through the clouds. They are not birds, but pterosaurs, the flying reptiles of the Mesozoic. Their wings stretch as wide as gliders. Some, like Rhamphorhynchus, have long tails with finned ends that help them steer. Others, such as Pterodactylus, appear sleeker, like phantom kites on invisible strings. They cry out in the morning air, circling rivers in search of fish. Their sharp eyes are constantly scanning the world below. Though often confused with dinosaurs, these aerial marvels are part of a different branch of the reptilian family tree. Still, they are a vital part of the Jurassic ecosystem. Herbivore highways. Back on land, the trails that weave through this environment tell stories of frequent travelers. Sauropods carve wide, trampled paths as they migrate from feeding grounds to water sources. Smaller herbivores like Dryosaurus and Camptosaurus dash between tree trunks, alert and watchful. Their world is one of constant motion. Stegosaurs, with their ornate backplates and powerful thagomizer tails, graze at the forest's edge. They are solitary or live in small groups. Cautious but confident in their armor. Food is plentiful. Conifer needles, soft ferns, and hardy cycads provide a buffet for all. The forest echoes with the rustle of leaves and the splash of water as herbivores make their way to drink. Life here is not just survival. It is rhythm. Routine. Family. Cycle. Predators in the shadows. But where there is prey, there are predators. In the thickets, a low growl vibrates through the underbrush. Eyes, sharp, yellow, and calculating, peer through the vines. It is Allosaurus, the apex predator of this ecosystem. Not as massive as its future cousin, Tyrannosaurus, but no less formidable. Allosaurus hunts in bursts of speed, using powerful jaws and sharp claws to bring down wounded or isolated prey. Sometimes, it scavenges. Sometimes, it stalks. Always, it is present, unseen until the moment it chooses to strike. Other predators include Ceratosaurus, distinguished by the horn on its snout, and the agile, fleet-footed Ornitholestes. This is not a world of unchecked violence, but a delicate balance. Predators maintain the ecosystem by thinning the weak and the old. Each species has its role, its rhythm, its right to exist. Ancient rivers and swamps. Follow one of the rivers now, perhaps the ancient Jurassic equivalent of the Colorado River. Its water runs shallow and warm, muddy from upstream floods. Turtles bask on logs. Frogs croak from reed clusters. Small fish dart beneath the surface, fleeing from the shadows above. At the river's edge, you spot crocodiliforms, early ancestors of crocodiles, lounging in the sun, mouths slightly agape. They snap up fish or scurry into the water at signs of larger predators. In the distance, you may hear the cry of a sphenodont, an ancient lizard relative that has barely changed in 200 million years. A living relic among relics. Here, every branch, rock, and puddle teems with life, some of which will leave behind fossils, others disappearing without a trace. Reproduction and growth. In a quiet clearing, you find an unexpected sight, a nest. Sauropods, it seems, have passed through recently. Shallow pits in the soil are filled with round, football-sized eggs. Covered partially with ferns, they are carefully hidden, but not forgotten. Mother sauropods may not guard their eggs like modern birds. Instead, their strategy is one of quantity, laying dozens or even hundreds of eggs in hopes that a few hatchlings survive. Some do. And they grow fast. Fossilized growth rings in bones suggest that many dinosaurs experienced rapid growth spurts, especially in their early years. A young Apatosaurus may grow dozens of pounds per day, reaching full size in less than 20 years. The forest is filled with life at every stage, from newly hatched chicks to the elders who tower above all. Social lives and sounds. Dinosaurs were not silent. Though we can't hear their exact calls, evidence from skull structures, nasal passages, and behavioral comparisons with birds and reptiles suggests a vocal world. Low-frequency rumbles. Trumpeting bellows. Bird-like chirps or croaks. Each sound served a purpose: warnings, courtship, communication. In a dense forest, these calls would echo across long distances, helping herds stay together or alerting others to danger. It's easy to imagine the Morrison Plains as filled with ancient music, a soundtrack of prehistoric life. The end of an era. As the late Jurassic draws to a close, the world continues to change. New species evolve. Old ones fade. The climate shifts slowly, subtly. Volcanic activity stirs in the distance, releasing ash that will one day coat fossil beds. The continents drift apart a little more. Oceans rise. Ecosystems transform. And yet, the forests remain, vast, green, alive. Still home to the creatures that walk beneath the ferns and drink from the winding rivers. Rest now, among the forest giants. And so we leave them, for now. Let your breath slow. Let your mind wander through these ancient forests. Feel the ground tremble beneath the steps of sauropods. Hear the rustle of leaves as stegosaurs graze. Watch the skies as pterosaurs glide on wind currents untouched by time. You are there, among them. Part of their world. Safe and small beneath the gaze of giants. As you drift towards sleep, know that this world, though gone, is not forgotten. It lives again each time we remember. Each time we wonder. Each time we listen. Part 5, The Dawn of Birds, Archaeopteryx and the Flight Toward the Sky. Let your breath deepen and soften as you begin this new voyage, further into the Jurassic, into a world where the winds of change whisper at once ancient and familiar. Close your eyes, and drift gently. We're entering a realm where scales meet feathers, where reptilian lineage gives rise to wings that tremble with flight. A quiet forest in the late Jurassic. We find ourselves in a dappled forest of southern Germany, softly warmed by the delicate light of twilight. Towering conifers cast long shadows across limestone quarries that, millions of years later, will yield one of nature's most significant fossils, Archaeopteryx. These forests are not silent. The low rustle of ferns, the distant call of small sauropods, and the soft hum of insects fill the air. Pterosaurs may glide overhead, but on the forest floor, life moves quietly, evolving its next marvel. Archaeopteryx, feathered between worlds. At the heart of this chapter is Archaeopteryx lithographica, known as the primeval bird. Discovered in 1861 amid the finely grained, yawning beds of Solnhofen limestone, Archaeopteryx stunned the scientific world. It was the very first fossil to suggest that birds descended from dinosaurs, a notion that aligned perfectly with Darwin's theory of evolution, published just 2 years earlier. Imagine a creature no larger than a crow, perched lightly on a branch. Its feathers are exquisite, wing feathers that intertwine into aerodynamic surfaces. Fossils preserve their structure almost intact, even though over 150 million years separate this moment from our own. Its body is small and slender, but its skeleton holds secrets. Its wings bear tertial feathers, those essential feather types that bridge the wing and the body to create a continuous surface for flight. This feature has been confirmed by recent analyses of a remarkably preserved Archaeopteryx specimen at the Field Museum in Chicago. These detailed studies, through UV light and CT scans, have revealed more than ever before, affirming its ability to fly, even if imperfectly. A hybrid form, both bird and reptile. Archaeopteryx walks the line between two worlds. Its long, bony tail sways behind it, its upper limbs end in delicate claws, adaptations suitable both for perching and grasping. Its skull bears teeth, and yet a delicate wishbone gives it the girder for flight-ready muscles. Recent research, harnessing the power of CT scanning, shows its brain and sensory structures were already nuanced, suggesting well-developed vision and motor control, primed for the onset of flight. Archaeopteryx may not have been a powerful flyer like modern birds. It probably combined short bursts of wing-assisted running with gliding, then landing softly in the tree canopy or on cryptic perches beneath fern shadows. Shadows of feathered kin. Archaeopteryx is not alone at the dawn of bird evolution. Recent finds from China. Fossils like Orornis sui, dated around 160 million years ago, and Baminornis zangensis, offer even older or more bird-like traits. Orornis, though beautifully preserved, may lack long feathers strong enough for flight. Baminornis, on the other hand, just discovered, displays a short, fused tail, a paiga style, more like modern birds and pushing avian evolution 20 million years earlier than we thought. Together, these discoveries deepen the picture, revealing that feathered flight was a gradual experiment begun long before modern wings took to the skies. The flight toward aves. Through Archaeopteryx and its feathered kin, we see that birds are not separate from dinosaurs, they are living dinosaurs. This connection, championed by paleontologists like Thomas Huxley, launched new branches of scientific thought, especially during the dinosaur renaissance of the 1970s onward, when dinosaurs were reconsidered as active, warm-blooded, and dynamic creatures. Closer relatives to living birds than previously imagined. Today, birds are the most diverse group of land vertebrates, a lineage that began at least as early as the late Jurassic and continues to evolve around us each day. Slowing to sleep among thicket and feathers. Imagine yourself in the soft, half-light of a Jurassic forest. Leaves drip with dew. In the branches above, a small figure flits, feathered, toothy, and arrestingly still. This is Archaeopteryx. It chirps softly, tiny calls that echo just faintly. You sense its presence, a flicker of wings, a heartbeat caught between past and present. These creatures were experimenters, perched on the edge of evolution, crafting new ways to soar. Their life was not perfect flight, but a gentle pivot toward the sky. Let that image hold you. Part 6, Cretaceous Skies, From Feathered Gliders to True Birds and Flight Innovation. Let your breath relax even further, breathing in the soft echo of ancient skies. In this chapter, journey to the Cretaceous period, a time of sweeping change when feathered ancestors gave rise to real birds, and flight took on new forms of grace and purpose. a new age dawns. We leave the leafy world of the Jurassic and enter the Cretaceous period, which began around 145 million years ago. It's a world where flowering plants, angiosperms, bloom, adding bright splashes of color and supplying new food sources. Insects diversify, feeding on nectar and pollinating plants. Dinosaurs continue their rule on land, but the world is shifting toward greater complexity. As the rainforest canopy grows thicker and floods carve new systems, life evolves faster. The stage is set for the evolution of true birds. Feathered dinosaurs thrive. While birds slowly develop, many non-avian dinosaurs are still feathered. The Jehol biota of northeastern China preserves an astonishing array of feathered dinosaurs and early birds, even in high-altitude, cool environments. Caudipteryx, a turkey-sized dinosaur with full pennaceous feathers, lives in the lush, forested crevices of this world. Was it a bird? Perhaps not, but its feathers are so bird-like that upon discovery, it rendered dinosaur-bird notions undeniable. Other oviraptorosaurs, up to 8 meters long, roam Asia, feathered and enigmatic, walking the fine line between dinosaurs and birds. Archaeopteryx revisited, new insights. Though not from the Cretaceous, Archaeopteryx remains vital to our understanding of bird evolution. A newly analyzed specimen at the Field Museum in Chicago offers startling clarity. Tertial feathers connect its wings to its body, creating aerodynamic surfaces essential for powered flight. These insights affirm Archaeopteryx's ability to fly, gliding or flapping, while retaining many dinosaurian traits. In places like Solnhofen, Germany, forests of yesteryear once held this primeval bird in their branches. Its silent wings recalled ancient evolutionary experiments, whispering of a sky that belongs to birds. Sonornis and the advance of bird-like dinosaurs. In early Cretaceous China, 120 million years ago, Sonornis appears, a sparrow-sized bird that blends primitive anatomy with modern traits. Its wings could perch, and its skeleton housed more avian adaptations than Archaeopteryx had. With each discovery, Caudipteryx, Sonornis, we see that the line between bird and dinosaur is not a chasm but a gradient. This is evolution in motion. Flight and feather evolution. Feathers in this era are not merely fluffy appendages, they are functional structures adapting for flight, insulation, or display. Recent studies of amber from the early Cretaceous of France show feathers in transitional stages, neither primitive nor fully modern, offering a glimpse into how feathers evolved over time. Feathers even preserve a tiny clue that feathered dinosaurs dealt with ticks. One specimen in Burmese amber shows a tick entangled in feather plumage, feeding. These creatures weren't just flying, they were living in ecosystems filled with tiny, ancient parasites. Early true birds emerge. By 100 to 120 million years ago, the sky's beginning to fill with birds that can fly, land, perch. These are the Enantiornithines, a dominant group of Cretaceous birds across Asia and beyond. They possess modern-like flight apparatus and live across coastal marshes and floodplains. Then comes Hesperornis, a toothed, loon-like diving bird of the late Cretaceous. It swims with powerful legs and hunts fish beneath the water's surface. Though it cannot fly, Hesperornis reveals how birds diversified into creatures that not only fly but swim and dive, and how bird evolution mirrored dinosaurs' explosive creativity. Flight in the Cretaceous, stories in shadows. Close your eyes and imagine. A marshy lake at dawn. Mist curls over the water. You hear fluttering above. Small wings cutting through heavy air. A Sonornis lands on a twig, perches with steady balance, a snapshot of survival. At the water's edge, a Hesperornis emerges from below, sleek and toothy, diving again moments later. Above them, Caudipteryx probes branches, not for flight, but for insects. Feathered dinosaurs scamper beneath canopies still smoking from volcanic soil. Somewhere in the thickets, a tick sinks into warm plumage, unnoticed in life, preserved for eternity. Birds descend from dinosaurs. All birds today are dinosaurs. It's now scientific consensus, one reached as recently as the past few decades. the crescendo of feathered dinosaurs and early aviali illustrates an arc of evolution that began in the Upper Jurassic and blossomed across the Cretaceous. From Archaeopteryx to Hesperornis, from the stealth of Anchiornis and Caudipteryx to the agility of Enantiornithines, we followed that arc from ground to sky. Sleep beneath ancient wings. Now, feel gravity lift, lightness fill your chest. Let the soft flutter of wings become your lullaby. Drift as Sonornis perches in the twilight glow of a Cretaceous morning. Let each breath be a wingbeat of another eon, each heartbeat echo ancient wings. Sleep now, beneath those prehistoric skies, safe, small, and part of a story that reaches from Earth's deep past to every bird that sings today. Part 7, Giants of the Cretaceous, Tyrannosaurs, Ceratopsians, and the Final Kingdom. Allow your breath to settle into a calm rhythm, steady and deep, as you envision time flowing like a slow river. Rain falls gently, stirring the rich, red soil that once covered vast continents. You are drifting once more into the deep past, into the late Cretaceous period, where the final chapters of the dinosaur world began unfolding, a kingdom of titans, of ivory horns, of thunderous steppes, and the last great age before the end. A warming world abroad. It is now roughly 100 million years ago, and the world is warmer and more diverse than ever. The continents seem familiar, but they are still shifting. North America splits from Eurasia, India drifts north toward Asia, and Africa and South America begin moving separately. Seas swallow interior lands, creating new coastlines and epic inland waters. Flowering plants, or angiosperms, now dominate the landscape. Their scented blooms attract butterflies, beetles, and bees, new relationships of pollination weaving the fabric of ecosystems. In the vibrant forest canopies, mammals remain small but proliferate. Insects hum in dazzling diversity. The planet pulses with energy. Above all, dinosaurs remain dominant, but this age, more than any before it, belongs to giants in every sense, giants of size, of form, of spectacle. Tyrannosaurus rex, the dragon king of the north. We begin with Tyrannosaurus rex, king of the late Cretaceous and crown jewel of dinosaur grandeur. Feel the tremor beneath your feet, a slow vibration like distant thunder. Ahead emerges a T-Rex. Not the 50-foot nightmare of movies, but an animal reaching up to 40 to 45 feet in length, weighing close to 9 tons. Its jaws, lined with banana-sized serrated teeth, glisten faintly. Its massive skull narrows into bone-armored eye ridges, giving it a critically studied, cold gaze. For a moment, breathe with it. It exhales in a quiet rumble that stirs the air. This is evolution perfected for apex predation. Recent studies, tallying bite force and analysis of skull microstructure, place T-Rex among the strongest biters in vertebrate history. It can crush bone. It can crack open carcasses for marrow. Yet, within that power lies nuance. Is T-Rex a relentless predator, a scavenger, or both? Its strong olfactory lobes suggest it could taste the air for miles, detecting carrion as easily as fresh kill. Limb mechanics show it's built not for sprinting mindlessly, but for efficient stalking. Imagine, T-Rex steps into the clearing. The forest hushes behind clouds of falling pollen. Leaves shudder. A flock of small ornithuran birds leaps from branch to branch above, chirping in alarm. And then, all is silent again. The gentle giants, hadrosaurs and ceratopsians. Across the land, hadrosaurs, or duck-billed dinosaurs, roam in herds. Edmontosaurus and Parasaurolophus are among the largest and most numerous. Their sound-producing crests echo like hollow horns across plains at dawn. Their molars grind, processing angiosperm leaves with efficient rhythm. In vast meadows under a pink-orange sky, ceratopsians, like Triceratops and Torosaurus, graze in layered herds. Their horns project challenge and defense, their massive frills shimmering with species-encoded patterns unexplored by eyes of flesh and wood. Your vision drifts over a herd. Triceratops calves nestle near their mother's legs. An adult sways its head, muscles flexing beneath leathery flesh. The collective movement shifts like wind in tall grasses. It is slow, majestic, calming. Wander through their world. Hear the rumble of bones on bones. Sense the communal breath. This is existence on geological scale, steady, powerful, peaceful. The feathered hunters in a mammalian shadow. Though dinosaurs dominate the ground, small theropods, often feathered, continue to dart through the Cretaceous undergrowth. Velociraptor, Deinonychus, Truden, predatory cousins to the ancestors of birds, hunt with calculation and cunning. Their eyes shine with intelligence. In bone-bound dwellings, they may even care for their young, teaching them to hunt. Their feathers, downy, then flight-worthy, reflect color only we can imagine. Meanwhile, mammals persist, mostly nocturnal but diverse, early ancestors of rodents, preds, and tree-dwellers. They are hidden, quiet, yet present. Into the actual ecosystem. Let us look upon a balanced scene from the Hell Creek Formation, around 66 million years ago, just before the end. A sky like old gold stretches above. At its edge, T-Rex pads through fern and horsetail. Up the slope, a flock of Pachyrhinosaurus grazes. In the trees, Oviraptor perches. A quick Truden scampers underneath. In the distance, a lone Triceratops mother watches her calf. Fragile, yet timeless. This is late Cretaceous life. Herds, hunters, birds, lizards, insects, all interwoven in a living network. Approaching the end. As you breathe deeply, sense that time has begun to quicken. Tectonic plates jostle. Volcanic activity surges. The climate shifts. The seas rise. Ecosystems become stressed. But for a moment, not just in fade, but in vivid clarity, life trembles toward the end. The last gasp of the Cretaceous breathes in your awareness. Drift into sleep beneath the last dynasty. Now, rest. Feel the earth pulse beneath you. Footsteps of tyrants, low musical calls of hadrosaurs, the rattle of feathers in undergrowth, the hush of developing mammalian shadow. Close your eyes on this world. Let the interlocked lives of giants, dramatic and massive, guide you into soft surrender. Let their breaths lull yours into quiet memory. When you awaken, the world we know will seem ancient in comparison. But in sleep, they live again. Part 8, Into the Shadows, Small Dinosaurs, Mammals, and the Prequel to Extinction. Settle into a deep, gentle breath and drift with me into the world's quiet corners, those filled not with giants, but with shadows and whispers. In this chapter, we'll explore the smallest rulers of the late Cretaceous, the creatures who lived beneath the thunder of tyrannosaurs, the diminutive dinosaurs and the surprisingly rich tapestry of mammals. These are the dwellers of the night, the runners in the underbrush, and the climbers of unseen branches. Their world teeters on the edge of oblivion, but their legacy endures. A time of great giants, and small lives. The late Cretaceous was a world of extremes. From towering tyrannosaurs to sprawling ceratopsians and armored ankylosaurs, the dominant dinosaurs ruled every visible landscape. Yet beneath their thunderous feet, small, keen-eyed creatures carved out hidden lives. Though often overlooked, these beings were spiritually rich and ecologically vital. In such times, dinosaurs larger than a meter dominated the land. Mammals existed, but were mostly small, furry, and unseen. Still, their quiet lives were emblematic of survival in a realm ruled by giants. Hesperonychus, a miniature dromaeosaur. Consider Hesperonychus, a small dromaeosaurid discovered in Alberta. Though only about a meter long and weighing just a few kilograms, its tiny speed and fierce claws marked it as a competent hunter. Its discovery helps fill an ecological gap in North American late Cretaceous faunas, showing that small predatory dinosaurs existed alongside their larger kin, pursuing different prey and ecological niches. Imagine a dimly lit forest floor. Rustling leaves reveal a small, sharp-toothed dinosaur, darting beneath broken logs in search of lizards or young mammals. Its size is nothing, but its purpose is great, a subtle wave in the ecosystem's undercurrent. Albertonicus and Shibuya, specialists of the shadows. In the same ecosystem, strange bird-like dinosaurs called Alvarezsaurs scurried. Albertonicus, known from Alberta, had spindly legs and tiny but powerful forelimbs, perfect for digging into termite nests, although ants hadn't yet evolved in abundance. In Mongolia, a similar relative called Shibuya moved among dunes and arid forests. It was feathered, with incredible adaptations, a flexible skull, keen senses, and a striking thumb claw designed for tearing open insect colonies. Recent studies show its preserved feather structures and chemical signatures mimic modern birds, confirming their complex evolutionary heritage. Imagine Shibuya in twilight, running on long legs, head down, catching insects with that one mighty thumb. Though small, it was a specialist perfectly formed for its place. Mammals of the Mesozoic, small, diverse, alive. Meanwhile, mammals, often relegated to shrew-sized shadows, were quietly abundant and varied. In fact, the late Cretaceous saw mammals diversify into many ecological roles, from insectivores and carnivores to herbivores and even mollusk duffers. Examples include species within marsupial-like, placental-like, and multituberculate lineages. Male Estes, a shrew-sized creature from the Gobi Desert 71 to 75 million years ago, stands out. As a eutherian mammal close to placentals, it may indicate that true placental mammals emerged near the dinosaur era's end. Meniscoesis, in North America, was a specialized rodent-like multituberculate, thriving amid the giants. And then there was Repenonomus, a mammal large enough to prey upon small dinosaurs, found with a juvenile parrot-faced dinosaur in its stomach. This astonishing fossil rewrote our idea of mammal weakness and shyness. Think of these creatures tucked beneath fallen logs or behind tree roots. Tiny, yes, no bigger than a modern cat or rat, but alive with purpose. Foraging, reproducing, surviving. Ecological interplay at the edge. These small dinosaurs and mammals existed in a hidden web of competition, evasion, and adaptation. Nothronicus, an odd, plant-eating theropod, lumbered slowly through swampy forests, likely feathered, a vegetarian cousin to carnivorous dinosaurs. Lokiceratops, with its ornate frill and elephantine size, grazed near wetlands in present-day Montana. Its spectacular headgear may have been used in display, colorful and elaborate like bird ornaments. Amid them, the tiny mammals and dinosaurs moved, hunting insects, gathering seeds, scurrying from shadows. Their silent persistence laid foundations for future ecosystems. Flowering plants, the silent revolution. This world was changing in ways unseen by the giants. Flowering plants, the angiosperms, spread across the land, diversifying rapidly. Their shapes, scents, and fruits heralded a new ecological partnership. Insects such as bees, butterflies, and beetles co-evolved with them, blossoming in abundance. Birds and small mammals capitalized on fruit and flower resources, nourishing deep ecological connections that would outlast the dinosaurs. This was the angiosperm terrestrial revolution, a shift that allowed small animals to flourish in niches neglected by the large megaherbivores. Mammal nightlife and survival strategies. Many mammal species then were nocturnal, burrowing beneath ferns and roots to escape daytime predators. Morganeucodon, though from the Jurassic, typifies this quiet existence. Shrew-sized, nocturnal, possibly burrowing, and likely feeding on insects and small invertebrates. It may well have suckled its young, one of evolution's earliest signs of care. These traits, small size, speed, stealth, became the survival suite as the end of the age approached. Gentle lullaby among shadows. Now, picture yourself in a hushed woodland at twilight. A tiny Hesperonychus slips between ferns, alert for lizards or rodents. At a fallen log, Repenonomus lies curled, digesting its last meal. In the trunk of a hollow tree, Meniscoesis gnaws gently on concrescent seeds, hidden from predatory eyes. As darkness falls, Alvarezsaurs with sickle claws scurry beneath bushes, dust motes dancing in the last light. Fox-like moments of fauna unspool in mind. Approaching the end of an era. Beneath the surface of this quiet world grew a mounting pressure. Tectonic shifts, volcanic activity, changing climates, and cosmic storms lingered beyond sight. And yet, in these small lives lies hope. In the shadows, in the quiet, evolution waited, ready to bloom after extinction. Dream gently underneath ancient silence. Your breathing now is slow, even. Let the image of this forest cradle you. Feel the heartbeat of small creatures hidden within the undergrowth. Let their lives, soft and determined, rock you gently into a deep, restful surrender. These creatures may have been small, but in the scope of time, they carried the seeds of an entire new world. Part 9, The Cataclysm, the Asteroid, its Impact, and the Last Days of the Dinosaurs. Let your breath settle in a soft rhythm. You stand on the brink of time's greatest upheaval. Behind you, magnificent dinosaurs, flourishing forests, endless life. Ahead, the final curtain, drawn by a cosmic event that would forever redefine Earth. Today, we witness the cataclysm that ended the age of dinosaurs and allowed a new world to emerge. The final days before extinction. In the late Cretaceous' final million years, Earth was dynamic and changing. Sea levels were fluctuating. Volcanic flows in India's Deccan Traps were releasing warm greenhouse gases, subtly transforming the atmosphere. Oceans warmed and chemical balances shifted. Yet ecosystems remained rich, and dinosaurs continued their vibrant rule. But above it all, something approached. A world at the Cretaceous-Paleogene boundary. Then, about 66 million years ago, catastrophe struck. A cosmic messenger between 10 and 15 kilometers wide slammed into our planet near what is now the Yucatan Peninsula, leaving behind the colossal Chicxulub crater, nearly 200 kilometers wide and 30 kilometers deep. Its impact energy reached an unthinkable level, unleashing force equivalent to billions of atomic bombs. Immediate effects: fire, shock waves, tsunami. Within moments, the Earth reeled. Shock waves blasted outward. Intense wildfires raged across continents, and a tsunami thousands of feet high raced through ancient seas. Sedimentary deposits in Mexico and beyond still preserve those catastrophic pulses. Darkness at noon, planet into winter. The heavens swelled with debris, ash, dust, and vaporized rock that blocked the sun for months. Photosynthesis collapsed. Plant life perished. Herbivores starved, and predators followed. Entire food chains collapsed. Select survivors in the aftermath. Yet, not all life vanished. Survivors were those small, adaptable creatures: birds, small mammals, crocodilians, amphibians, insects, plankton, and ferns. Ecosystem biodiversity after the extinction was shaped by those resilient through the darkness. In deep water, marine reptiles like mosasaurs and ammonites disappeared, but some fish, sharks, and bony plankton persisted. A day frozen in time. In North Dakota, paleontologist Robert De Palma discovered a remarkable site, Tanis, a fossil deposit that may capture the immediate seconds to minutes following the asteroid's impact. Fossils embedded with impact debris and sediments, frozen records of dinosaurs, fishes, trees, all caught in the cataclysm. Volcanoes and asteroid, twin contributors. Though the asteroid delivered the final blow, Earth had already been warming via prolonged volcanic activity in the Deccan Traps. These eruptions produced greenhouse gases that stressed ecosystems long before impact. Newly measured spikes in ocean temperatures in Antarctica reflect a two-pulse extinction, one gradual, one sudden. A press-pulse model combines these stresses, long-term climate shift plus instantaneous impact, together, devastating Earth's biosphere. Crying the deeper causes. Scientists now explore more than just soot and ash. Could black carbon from burning oil deposits have darkened the skies longer than dust? Was Schumann resonance, Earth's electromagnetic heartbeat, interfered with in ways biologically meaningful? These are cutting-edge speculations with implications for extinction mechanisms. The fossil record speaks. The K-PG boundary is a vivid marker in geologic history, visible worldwide in rock layers rich in iridium. It's a line that separates eras, the end of the Mesozoic and the birth of today's Cenozoic. At Hell Creek and Corral Bluffs, a new era unfolds, mammals begin to grow larger, ecosystems emerge anew in the green light of a reborn world. Decline or collapse? Did dinosaurs dwindle into oblivion or fall in abrupt collapse? Fossils suggest no global decline. Late Cretaceous dinosaur diversity remained rich until impact. In some regions, diversity even increased. But the asteroid delivered a sudden, planetary catastrophe. Sleep in a world reborn. Now, imagine the Earth after, silent. Dawn breaks onto desolate land. Ferns begin to grow in sudden sunlight. Small mammals scuttle through hollow trees. Birds flutter upward from the ashes. A new age begins. Sleep within that rebirth. Part 10, Life After the Fall, Mammals Rise and the Age of New Kings. Close your eyes and take a long, deep breath. Let your mind drift slowly, like a leaf floating upon a still pond, back in time to a world reborn. The dust has settled. The giants have vanished. From their absence arises a new symphony of life, small, warm, and relentless. This is Cenozoic Earth, and our spotlight turns to the creatures that carried life forward after the cataclysm. A quiet world reawakens. Here, in the early Paleocene epoch, 66 million years ago, the Earth is fragile and quiet. Volcanoes still hiss in the distance. Charred landscapes stretch for miles. The sun's warmth filters through a thin haze. In these silent fields, something begins again. Ferns carpet the ground, blooming in the aftermath of extinction. Pioneer trees, willow, poplar, take root beside trickling streams. Green returns first to the land, life begins to climb back. At twilight, a small creature emerges, Prochenolestes, a shrew-like mammal under 6 inches long, scurrying through ash-blushed undergrowth, sniffing for insects among fallen leaves. With delicate paws and keen eyes, it is one of the first living creatures of the New Age. The dawn of mammals. Mammals had lived in the twilight of dinosaurs, small, cowering, nocturnal. But now, with the giants gone, the world is open to them. Within a million years, mammals grow brighter and broader in diversity. Some scamper beneath fallen logs. Others hover at riverbanks. Soon, they will crawl into wetlands and spread across plains. Purgatorius, once thought to be a primate ancestor, likely hunted insects among ferns. Pantodonts like berry lambda sniffed roots and traveled in herds. Early ungulates like Phenacodus trotted across meadows, hoofed and hungry for broad-leaved plants. In the trees, small marsupials and arboreal mammals bounded along branches, evolving gliding membranes or grasping paws. Everywhere, mammal lineage branched, and life blossomed once again. Petrichor and proliferation. Take another slow breath. The air now carries petrichor, the scent of earth restored. Rain drips from conifers. Moth-winged insects hum. Ferns wave. Mice-like mammals rummage. Birds, true descendants of dinosaurs, flock in dawn's light, songs filling empty skies. In a quiet thicket, an early entelodont, a pig-sized creature blending brawn and opportunism, sniffs the air. Nearby, a gliding mammal. Volaticotherium unfurls a membrane, flits between branches. Life is both cautious and curious in its new freedom. Rise of new kings, herbivores and megafauna. As millennia pass, mammals grow larger. Pantodonts weigh hundreds of pounds. Peripticid ungulates amble along rivers. In forests, moose-like Uintatherium raise skull toppers like living crowns. In grasslands, newly evolved Dinoceratons, ancient rhinoceros cousins, charge under twilight skies. The world is becoming recognizable, mechanics of size re-emerging, giants of the stump, though rare and evolutionary hopefuls. The birth of proboscideans. From the Paleocene emerged distant relatives of elephants, morithirs, hippo-like mammals nipping swamp plants. They root among ferns, their bodies squat but curious. Over time, these proto-elephants evolve into dinosaurs, gomphotheres, and finally the towering proboscideans with trunks and tusks. They become lords of the land. Imagine one feeding silently beside a forest stream, its trunk weaving plants into a soft rhythm. Its tusks glisten with age. In its presence, animals bow. Avian lives in the new dawn. Birds, descendants of those small, feathered dinosaurs, pervade every niche. Gastornis, a flightless bird towering 5 feet tall, stomps through wetlands. With a deep beak capable of cracking nuts and bones, it dominates its marshland corner. Tiny songbirds flit through reeds. Waterfowl paddle through dawn ponds. Raptors, hawks and early owls, circle overhead. Where giants once warred, now feathers drift calmly in sunrise. Forests of innovation. Under vast canopies, a new biodiversity pulses. Pollinators buzz. Flowers bloom in technicolor. Mammals, rodents, and marsupials study, forage, evolve. Early primates like Plesiodopus scamper up trunks. Fruit eaters litter paths. Tree shrews bound effortlessly. The world unfolds into complexity. It's the opening chapter of the age of mammals. Small lives, great futures. Back to that first breath. You rest among them, all life tiny and purposeful. The endings of giants enabled the beginnings of creators, nurturers, thinkers. Sleep now with the hum of the forest. Let your mind hold the quiet courage of small forms that carried evolution forward. Part 11, Forests and Fields, Mammal Evolution from Hares to Hoofed Giants. Allow your breath to flow uneventfully as you drift into the dawn of the Cenozoic world. Beyond the forest canopy, a new dawn is breaking, not for great dinosaurs, but for smaller, stronger mammals, developing new forms, swift runners, burrowers, and hoofed giants. This is the growing chorus of life building itself anew after extinction silence. The quiet expansion of mammals. In these early epochs, long after the asteroid's darkness has lifted, mammals begin diversifying in ways that would eventually define life on continents. In temperate forests and open plains, small insectivores give way to nimble mammals with longer limbs, capable of darting across open ground. Hyaenodonts, early carnivores, thrive alongside mesonychians, strange hoof predators. Some are wolf-sized, others perch like foxes. They hunt fish, reptiles, and smaller mammals by riverbanks. These are the first hunters to reclaim those overshadowed niches. Meanwhile, small artiodactyls, even-toed ungulates, nibble tender shoots in marshlands. New branches spring from the mammalian family tree. Some will give rise to deer, pigs, goats, and giraffes. In shadowed woods, rodents gnaw at seeds, birthing the lineage that will proliferate neural diversity for eons to come. Primate strides in forest shadows. Among the branches, early primates make their delicate way. Adapiforms, tree-dwelling mammals with grasping fingers and large eyes, hold tight to branches. Their awareness is quiet but alert, built from hours of climbing and careful motion. Imagine the forest at dusk, dappled light filters through tangle of leaves while tiny primates scurry overhead, calling softly to one another. They reach for insects or fruit, tiny discoveries that drive their intelligence upward. These early primates, ancestral to modern apes and humans, are still hidden in the forest, their minds not yet awakened fully, but turning slowly toward thought. Masters of grass and wood, evolution of ungulates. On the open plains and meadows, a quieter revolution is unfolding. Hoofed mammals, ungulates, are diversifying into thicker-boned browsers and faster sprinters. Condylarths, an early group of primitive hoofed mammals, adapt to varied terrain. Some develop high-crowned teeth suited for grazing, Others retain low-crowned molars for browsing. Soon come true ungulate lineages. Perissodactyls, odd-toed ancestors of horses, rhinos, and tapirs. Artiodactyls, even-toed ancestors of deer, pigs, cattle, and bison. Picture a grassy floodplain. A herd of early perissodactyls, 9-foot horses with 3 toes, grazes slowly. Nearby, pig-like artiodactyls shuffle through undergrowth, rooting for tubers. Predators for these herds include nimble cats and early mesonychians. A balance of life pulses across those fields. Herbivores feeding, predators watching, survival humming. Forest shadows, the evolution of rodents and shrews. Meanwhile, in dense bush and tangle, rodents develop fur-like in density to retain warmth. Paramyine rodents, small and quick, leap across branches, chewing bark and seeds. Their incisors are sharp and ever-growing, adapted for gnawing through hard casings. Shrews, soricomorphs, evolved in parallel, with narrow snouts and fast-moving reflexes, feasting on insects under leaves and logs. In this underworld, life flickers, small, quick, driven by hunger. Yet this world is where survival gains roots. Plains of giants, tastodonts and perissodactyl evolution. As epochs unfold, ungulates grow larger. Tylopods, with camel-like toes, emerge. Embryonic rhino ancestors crush vegetation. The mammals, once tiny at the time of dinosaur extinction, now bear bulk and height. A vast plain, early equus ancestors gallop, their hoofs thundering. Near them, primitive rhinoceroses feed beneath open sky. Their bulky frames cast shadows like slow-moving statues. This is the Cenozoic narrative, where mammals not only climb but also gallop. Where hoofs become the new locomotor drumbeat of Earth. Insects, birds, and forest song. High above, birds replace dinosaurs as dominant aerial creatures. They flock through flowering trees, hummingbird relatives pierce air, while hawk-like raptors dive for fish below. In a clearing covered in bluebells, butterflies drift, a sign of coevolution with flowering plants. Below branches, woodpeckers, descendants of early tree-gnawing birds like Sapiornis, hammer trunks with rhythmic patience. The forest sings in rich, living detail, pollens, songs, colors, life. All fed by mammals, birds, insects, and flowers, thriving in a world molded from silence. The rise of monotremes and marsupials. In Gondwanan pockets, marsupials flourish. Version of marsupial possums drift along Australian forests. Monotremes, platypus ancestors, swim rivers in egg-bearing curiosity. These lines will last as relics, echidnas and platypi, reminders of Earth's branching story, resilient in isolation. Sleep among the fields of life. And now, dear listener, imagine drifting across these living wetlands and forests. Feel the brush of soft fur, the flutter of wings, the distant drumming of hoofs. Your breath may falter in awe, but you are safe, drifting with those creatures. Sleep now, beneath living branches, across gentle plains, within forests vibrant with mammal life. Let nature cradle you. Part 12, Sky and Song, Birds Rise, and Mammals Spread. Let your breath lengthen, each exhale softer than the last. Drift farther back along time's gentle arc, where Earth's world remade itself beneath feathered wings and soft paws. This is Part 12, where the sky fills with birdsong and mammals weave themselves into every corner of life. Dawn awakes the world. Imagine the morning light stretching across gently rolling hills. The air is cool, filled with bird calls and the low hum of insects. Decades, centuries, have passed since Earth cast off the clothing of ash from the Cretaceous cataclysm. Now, silence blooms into song. Ferns and flowering plants flourish uninterrupted. Canopies thicken. Rivers wind through expansive forests. And across all this new life, creatures rise to claim the air. The rise of songbirds. Our first subjects are the songbirds, the passeriforms, the largest modern group of birds. Evolving in the Paleogene, they spread with astonishing variety. Imagine hearing their melodies as you walk through a dawnlit woodland, flute-like whistles, string of trills, light as prayer. Insects flick in the branches. Leaves tremble at each bright note. Songbird ancestors began small and delicate, darting among flowers and seeds. Their familiar descendants now fill our skies with music. Cuckoos, owls, hawks, and shorebirds. Across marshes, a cuckoo taps from reed stalks. Its familiar rhythm breaks the morning hush. In the forest canopy, an owl rests, silent as shadow, waiting until dusk. Above open plains, hawks ride invisible thermals, scanning for movement below. In coastal shallows, sandpipers run along the edge, long legs skittering through water, probing for invertebrates. Birds have claimed every niche, fields, woodlands, tundra, water's edge. The world now sings with the breath of feathered life. Mammals advance across continents. Meanwhile, terrestrial mammals continue their expansion. In the Eocene epoch, small ungulates transform, some become early horses, Eohippus, with tiny hooves, others become multi-toed grazers. Tapirs wade in swamps. Primitive primates nimbly climb. By the Miocene, modern orders flourish. Apes rove through African forests. Carnivores, like early cats and bears, prowl in shadowed thickets. Elephant-like creatures migrate across continents. Your vision drifts across rolling grasslands shaded by acacia and oak, mammals of all shapes and sizes marking their domains. Tracks move softly through grass, hoofs, paws, and claws press gently into earth. Mammals and birds intertwine. In forest and field, mammals and birds form a tapestry of life. Squirrels chase acorns in treetops. Blue jays flit over their tails. Predators like foxes and raptors share the ground. Carrion feeders, crows, vultures, hover silently. Trees filled with fruit attract both monkeys and parrots. Streams echo with croaking frogs and calls of waterfowl. The hum of insects underlies the entire rhythm. A vibrant world reimagined. This is Earth in harmony, a place alive with diversity and curiosity. It's been a long journey since the quiet of the Triassic. Giants reigned. Extinction reshaped everything. And now, birds and mammals, in small and large forms, lay claim to the sky and earth alike. Rest beneath the chorus. Take one final breath and hold it softly. Let the memory of bird song fill your mind, lilting, distant, beautiful. Feel yourself nestled between wing and paw, drifting with melody and whisper. You have traveled through extinction's silence into life's chorus. Drift into sleep now, as the world sings its timeless song. Part 13, Grasslands and Giants, the Age of Hoofed Mammals and Raptors of the Plains. Imagine the hush of early morning. Your breath slows, your mind begins to dissolve into the soft golden light of dawn. You drift across sweeping landscapes, grass seas, open plains, shimmering heat. This is a world transformed. Where once the earth carried exotic jungles, now gentle prairie grass flows beneath hoofed giants and agile, keen-eared predators. This is the story of the mammals that shape the open lands, of bird and stratagem, and of balance in movement and sound. Welcome to the age of plains. From forests to grasslands. Let us anchor ourselves among long, waving blades. The rise of C4 grasses in the late Miocene, about 10 million years ago, brought a profound shift. Flowering grasses adapted to cooler, drier climates, spreading across continents and forming the earliest savannas. Trees retreated to gallery forests and river bottoms, leaving vast sea of grass. These grasses are tough and fibrous. They breathe in carbon dioxide and exhale oxygen at dawn and dusk. Their root systems run deep. They create ecosystems defined by mobility and grazing. In such lands, new species evolve to eat, run, dominate. Hoofed titans take their place. Across continents, hoofed mammals, ungulates, expand and diversify. The families of equids, horses, bovids, cattle and antelopes, cervids, deer, rhinocerodids, and elephants all grow larger, faster, and more specialized for grassland life. In North America, massive camels, like Epicamelus, tower atop long legs, browsing at treetops in shady canopies. In Africa, ancient antelopes, nimble and alert, bound over plains, their horns spiraling in elegant arcs. Imagine wild herds sweeping across the amber light, hoofbeats drumming in hush, heads swinging in unison as they feed, pause, move without fear or hurry. Nature's choreographed movement. Raptors of the open plains. Where ungulates reign, raptors follow. Territorial predators like saber-toothed cats, Smilodon, prowl beneath blood-orange skies. Others, dire wolves, cheetahs, and early lions, race across straits, muscles coiled, eyes bright, chasing grace and hunger with breathless focus. Smilodon waits in hidden paths, its jaws open in slow readiness. Nearby, a cheetah, lightweight and lithe, runs like wind beneath grass NFTs, body superheated with sprint. Raptors of the plains define balance of predator and prey. Birds of the plains. Above all these lives, birds ride thermal columns. Secretary birds stalk like mythic hunters, stomping grass snakes into submission. Buzzards circle overhead, scanning for carrion. Cranes dance in marshes, their calls echoing like arias through golden reeds. Ground-nesting birds like parsleycombs scuttle among hoofprints, alert and watchful by instinct. Later, ostriches and rheas, tallest and most visible, sprint when danger lifts. Their wings may be useless for flight, but they sway feathers in breathtaking rhythm as they run. Bison, elephants, and giants of the plains. Imagine enormous bison shoulder to shoulder in herds carpeting North American grasslands. Their bellowing calls resonate across valleys. In Africa, elephants, descendants of small, trunk-bearing ancestors, migrate over distances measured in days. They spread seeds, shape waterholes, and create paths that many species follow. They weigh tons, yet each step is silence and patience. Adaptations of grassland life. Grass consumes silica and fiber that is hard to digest. So ungulate molars evolve high crowns and complex ridges. Digestive systems adapt as well. Ruminants, like cows and antelopes, develop stomach chambers to ferment grass slowly, extracting nutrients from tough cellulose. Predators sharpen claws, develop vision tuned for horizontal motion, and breed young that can walk within hours of birth. Every adaptation is written in hoof, horn, tooth, or feather. Climate's long swing. Throughout millennia, climate swings, warmer humid periods encroach on prairies. Ice ages contract grasslands, forests reclaim edges. But grass, with its deep roots and rapid growth, rebounds quickly. Ungulates survive in glaciated northern latitudes, braving frost to emerge on thaw. Migration paths stretch from Britain to Siberia to North America, living highways grazed by wild horses and myriads of hoofed giants. Human beginnings among plains life. As mammals rose, early hominines emerge, small, curious bipedal creatures, watching from tree edges at open savannas. They see the way grass grows, how herds collect, how predators follow. They adapt tools, become hunters, become part of landscape. A prehistoric observer, wooden spear balanced, heart steady, spies a herd of grazing antelopes. The plains teach vision, patience, strategy, memory, tool-making. A legacy, because the plains made inhabitants, not vice versa. Night descends on grassland symphony. The sun fades further, and warm air sifts over grass. The call of owl and nightjar echo. Crickets and grasshoppers create gardens of sound. Hoofbeats recede, beside a waterhole, an elephant trumpets softly. A cheetah yawns and nuzzles a sibling in stealthy dusk. The plains are alive even under gloam's hush. Drift into rest among the grass. Now, slowly close. Let the sway of grass, the rhythm of hoofed giants, and the silent feathered echoes guide your thoughts deeper into sleep. Imagine yourself lying in gentle grass golden lit by fireflies, safe, slow, drifting in the afterglow of Cenozoic life. You are born on wings of raptor, hoofs of mammal, the gentle choir of birds and grass. Let sleep claim you. Part 14, Forest's Lament, Mammals of the Boreal and Time's Quiet Echo. Relax deeply, and let your breath guide you into the peaceful hush of a vast, ancient forest. No footsteps echo here, just the soft rustle of pine needles and the distant hum of unseen dwellers. This is a world shaped by cold and shadow, the great boreal forests, home to resilient mammals who learn survival in silence and isolation. In this chapter, we will drift into that world, where whispers travel and life persists beneath a canopy untouched by time. From sunlit plains to cold evergreen giants, we leave open grasslands behind. The air grows crisp. For trees rise tall and still, their branches heavy with snow that twinkles like stars in the morning light. If we trace the Earth's history into the Neogene, the climate cools. Ice creeps on the horizon, oceans shift. Forests retreat south and reform across the northern latitudes. The great boreal forests, or taiga, stand as a green fortress where only the resilient flourish. Mammals evolve here to endure, thick fur, silent steppes, clever strategy. The mammoth steppe, giants of fur and earth. Over wide lands, the mammoth steppe stretches, a landscape more productive than tundra, where grasses and sedges grow high under cold skies. Woolly mammoths stand as colossal icons, dense, shaggy furs, curved tusks sweeping as powerful symbols. They roam in slow, deliberate herds, trumpeting with each exhale, plowing paths through frost. They shape their ecosystems. Their dung fertilizes hidden soils. Their movement cracks ground beneath. The world warms just enough in the summer for tundra flowers to bloom, tiny blossoms beneath giant feet. Compact carpets of the cold, smaller taiga dwellers. Far beneath mammoth shadows, small mammals thrive. The Canada lynx, a silent predator, moves with pinpoint precision among snow-swathed branches. It depends on a single, rhythmic life source, the snowshoe hare, whose population ebbs and flows in a rhythmic dance of survival and scarcity. When hares are abundant, lynx numbers climb. When hares decline, the lynx disperse or reduce reproduction, in a cycle millions of years in the making. Beside glistening streams, a bushy-tailed woodrat arcs through mossy litter, carrying shiny objects in a midnight stash, choosing trinkets over food, and weaving its own stone-made refuge. How quiet they move. Just footprints on frost's canvas. Fishers, players of still shadows. High in towering pines and fallen logs, the fisher, not a fisher cat, but a mustelid, rules. It prefers dense forest cover. Old growth stands thick with stories. Its fur blends with the bark. It hunts squirrels and rodents, scents muted by snow. In winter, the fisher dances between trunks, scanning for chance and silence, an artist of stealth. A forest in conversation. Here, predator and prey shape each other's behavior. Snowshoe hares shift their coloration with the season, lynx shadow their silence. Mammoths break ground, creating waterways others follow. Small rodents ferry seeds, nourishing forests that shelter generations of life. The forest breathes a quiet life, cycles of cold and bloom, of hunger and abundance, of stealth and survival. It is still, yet pulsing with stories. Time moves like snow melt. Millennia pass. Ice advances. Forests shrink. Mammoths roam toward the twilight of their era. The Pleistocene ice ages sweep the tundra, carving great lakes. Man appears, curious, moving quietly across snow. He sees mammoths and hares. He learns to respect silence. The forest adapts. Spruce, fir, lichen, moss persist. Wolves, bears, lynx endure. The age of ice shapes evolution. Sleep beneath evergreen giants. Now, drift deeper into repose, hear the hush beneath towering pines, feel the crisp smell of frost and earth. Let your thoughts succumb to calm. A lone mammoth brushes past. A cloak of ancient echoes. A lynx observes from snow-soft ground, counting heartbeat. A fisher slips between trees, a ghost of velvet fur. A pack rat treasures a glint in the dark. Sleep now, beneath the evergreens of Earth's memory. Let the forest's silence be your lullaby. Part 15, Ice Ages and Giants, the Final Mammoths, Saber-tooths, and the Dawn of Us. Relax into the soft rhythm of your breathing, letting each exhale carry you deeper into a gentle realm of memory, a world where woolly giants roamed beneath pale skies, where saber-toothed hunters stalked across frozen plains, and the first whisper of humanity echoed in the distance. This is the final tapestry of Pleistocene megafauna, the great mammals of the Ice Age, and the humans who stood beside them during Earth's last wild era. The vast mammoth steppe. Imagine a wide, cold plain stretching from the heart of Europe across Beringia into Yukon. This was the mammoth steppe, a vast, sunlit grassland that fed the Ice Age giants. The air was frigid and clear. Underfoot, palatable grasses and herbs thrived, shaped by frost and sunlight. World over, this shared biome sustained immense diversity of life: woolly mammoths, steppe bison, woolly rhinoceros, horses, and reindeer grazed in abundance. The biome thrived for tens of thousands of years, until Earth's climate warmed, forests crept in, and contest began anew. Mammoths, gentle titans of frost. Woolly mammoths, Mammuthus primigenius, moved like living islands across frozen plains, their buffalo-sized bodies fur-coated, tusks curving skyward, trunks probing beneath snow for nourishment. Some populations survived longer than we once believed, especially in isolated refuges like Wrangel Island, even as late as 4,000 years ago, long after the Ice Age faded elsewhere. Despite their bulk, mammoths required vast grasslands. As forests advanced and warming climates shrank their habitat, surviving became difficult, even as they shared terrain with human hunters. Saber-toothed cats and short-faced bears. In the shadows strode predators of fierce refinement. In the La Brea tar pits lay saber-toothed cats, or Smilodon, their long fangs trapped in relic pools of pitch. Their muscle-bound front limbs held prey close while their bites pierced life with precision. Further north, the short-faced bear, Arctodus simus, 3 meters tall at its shoulder, may have hunted from stealth or scavenged with terrifying presence. Across the tundra, cave lions and wolverines held territory beneath glinting northern lights. Together, these predators shaped behavior and survival strategies of mammoth herds and other prey. Ground sloths, forests oversized past. In the Americas, among dense brush and forest margins, darker lumbered ground sloths, giant descendants of tree-dwelling relatives. The largest, Megatherium americanum, reached lengths of 6 meters and weight of around 4 tons, rivaling elephants in size. Its massive claws reached high branches as it reared for foliage, standing like a living tower. Evidence suggests humans hunted or scavenged some ground sloths at kill sites dated to 12,000 years ago, blending narratives of giant calm and carved survival. Humans and megafauna, shared landscapes. Ancient humans, Clovis culture and others, crossed into new continents. They hunted mammoths, as direct evidence shows. A child's bone from 12,800 years ago carries chemical signatures revealing that his mother's diet was 40% mammoth meat. Yet the end of megafauna was not simply fueled by hunting. Climatic shifts and changing ecologies played as much a part. A study of fossil spores suggests herbivore decline began between 14,800 and 13,700 years ago, before humans reached full dominance, challenging simple extinction narratives. In South America, creatures like glyptodonts, huge armored armadillo relatives, lived alongside humans for 4,000 years before extinction, illustrating a complex interplay of climate, human arrival, and ecological pressures. The last embrace of giants. As forests reclaimed tundra, and shallow lakes returned, mammoths and their kin drifted into diminishing pockets. Climates fluctuated. Humans migrated farther. Populations thinned. Some, like mammoths on Wrangel Island, lingered in final solitude. Others vanished into legend and bone. Fossil and genetic evidence show that mammoths and horses may have survived in small numbers into the early Holocene, between 11,000 and 7,000 years ago, much longer than fossils alone suggested. Echoes of extinction, tiny lives remembered. In Samwell Cave, small mammal fossils reflect a broader story of survival and loss. Ground squirrels, voles, and other small mammals suffered population crashes during post-glacial warming. Their persistence speaks to resilience even as broader ecosystems broke anew. Closing reverie. Now, close your eyes, and breathe as though breathing in 12,000 years ago. Feel the frost in the air, hear the heavy footfall of a mammoth, imagine a sloth towering against a horizon blooming with dawn. Hear the snap of branches under saber-toothed paws. Sense human mind forming tools, forming tracks, living in shadows and cold. The age of Ice Age giants is gone, but their memory, quiet, earthy, immense, lingers in bone, in skin, in DNA, and in stories we carry. Sleep now among mammoths, saber teeth, early humans. Rest beneath the remnants of frozen plains, warm in the memory of giants. Part 16, New Communities, Holocene Changes and the Rise of Civilization. Take a soft, centering breath and let your mind drift. You stand at the cusp of the Holocene epoch, a time when Earth's warmth returns and a new harmony unfolds, one shaped by nature and tempered by human hands. In this part, we will witness forests spreading over former tundra, megafauna fading into memory, and the first communities growing around hearth and field. A warming world emerges. As the final glaciers retreat, dark tundra melts into soft soil. The mammoth steppe, once stretching from Europe across Beringia into North America, teeming with woolly giants, is reclaimed by forests and wetlands. Only in remote areas of the Altai-Sayan Mountains do such grasslands persist as echoes of a vanished world. Gentle rain replaces frost, birch and pine push northward, and large forests climb into where permafrost once ruled. The air warms, the earth breathes anew. The forest and its stewards. Among these expanding forests, new ecosystems take root. Trees rise skyward, and herbaceous undergrowth teems with life. The forest no longer sits in the shadow of cold, it sings in warm light. Humans arrive and discover that these communities, forests of oak, chestnut, willow, are rich with fruit, tubers, and nuts. From Mesopotamia to East Asia, early farming gathers in the gifts of nature and transforms them. The Neolithic Revolution dawns. In the Fertile Crescent, people domesticate goats, sheep, cattle, and pigs. They plant wheat, barley, and legumes, anchoring humans in one place for the first time. This revolution gives rise to villages, then towns, and soon, civilization itself susurrates into being. Humans shape the land. As humans farm, forests slowly retreat. They clear fields, turn woodlands into cultivated land, and pasture sheep and goats where forests once stood. This shift redraws the world, wild communities shrink, and human-managed landscapes grow. The wood pasture hypothesis suggests much of early Holocene Europe wasn't thick forest, but a lightly wooded meadow maintained by large herbivores like aurochs, bison, and wild horses. Only after these grazers vanish, often due to human hunting and habitat loss, does denser forest take root, changing the face of land forever. Thus civilization's advance isn't just cultural, it is ecological, reshaping Earth's fabric. Domestication and human societies. Domesticated animals follow humanity's spread. Cattle and goats spread west into Europe, goats becoming a dietary blueprint in early dairy cultures, traces of which still show in modern human DNA. As human knowledge grows, so does their influence. Herding patterns shift lands, agriculture molds the climate in subtle ways, from methane from livestock to widespread land clearing. Civilization leaves its mark, slow but unending. Villages become cities, kingdoms emerge, literate civilizations record astronomy, laws, poetry, all rooted in fields once grazed by mammoths. Forests, fauna, and fading giants. Back in the shadows, forests hide the memory of Ice Age giants. The steps of mammoths and footfalls of saber-toothed cats vanish from the most frozen reaches, lasting only in bones and DNA. Some mammoths linger, on islands like Wrangell, into the early Holocene. But the day they vanish marks a shift not just in fauna, but in Earth's soul. Yet new creatures fill the open: red deer, roe antelope, mosquitoes buzzing in re-wilded wetlands. Forests are full again, not of giants, but of songbirds, rodents, deer, and stardust-dappled shadows. Human culture and mammalian memory. Humans, now settled and creative, remember megafauna in art and legend. In Europe's caves, the woolly mammoth appears in hundreds of depictions, engraved, painted, and formed into ritual objects. Civilizations build monuments, write histories, honor animals in myth, echoes of a world where mammals were gods of presence and awe. Closing reflection. Now, exhale and close your journey across epochs. Feel the gentle hum of human footsteps in the soft soil, the rustle of forest edges, the promise of seeds beneath your touch. Drift into sleep beneath the memory of mammoths, beneath forests singing with birds, rooted in fields that fed cities. You rest in the harmony of nature and culture, of time's slow turning. Part 17, Into Tomorrow, Industrial Age, Mammals in Modern Life, and Conservation's Whisper. Settle in. Let your breath become a smooth, quiet current. In this chapter, we bridge from the natural rhythms of the Holocene into our own era of human transformation, the Industrial Age and the birth of conservation. Here, mammals both shape modern life and call us to stewardship. The thrum of innovation and the toll on wilderness. As you breathe deeply, imagine the 19th century dawn when steam engines growled across continents. Forests fall to chainsaws, coal fires burn bright with smoky ambition, and cities bloom where nature once flourished. This era birthed both destruction and awareness. Writers like Henry David Thoreau reflected on nature's value, declaring in 1851 that, "in wildness is the preservation of the world." Scientists warned that resources were finite, philosophers urged restraint. A new consciousness stirred amid industrial smoke. The first conservationists and protected lands. In the early 20th century, leaders like John Muir and President Theodore Roosevelt forged paths forward. Yosemite became a monument to wilderness, forests were set aside. The U.S. Forest Service and National Park System emerged. Land was not only fuel but sacred. Preservation took root. Organizations such as the Wildlife Conservation Society, founded in 1895, and the American Bison Society, 1905, began rescuing species on the brink. The Yellowstone bison herd's restoration became symbolic of human help and humility. Laws to heal the earth. By mid-century, the need for legal frameworks grew. The Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972 prevented commercial hunting of marine mammals, alerting us to the fragility of ocean life. 1 year later, the Endangered Species Act, ESA, was enacted, the most powerful law ever passed in the U.S. to protect at-risk species and habitats. Across the world, policy began responding, bit by bit, to nature's silent crisis. Conservation in action, comebacks and rediscoveries. Some species, once declared lost, returned under human protection. European bison vanished from wild forests for decades. In Romania's Carpathians, they were reintroduced, today numbering over 9,000 and upgraded from vulnerable to near-threatened. The Vancouver Island marmot, nearly extinct, has been brought back through captive breeding and release, an emblem of hope. Even marine giants like the southern right whale hint at resilience. Had whaling not ravaged them, up to 10% from 1893 could still be swimming today. Today, scientists say that more than a third of mammal species once considered extinct may yet survive in hidden pockets, reminding us how incomplete and enduring life's persistence can be. Biodiversity beyond numbers. Conservation has evolved. It's not only quantity but unique evolutionary lineages that matter. Some rare mammals. Like the obscure Cuban solenodon, carry ancient genetic stories worth saving, even if they lack mass appeal. Protecting such species multiplies biodiversity's value. The mammals within our lives. Modern life is threaded by mammals. From the cat at your feet to the cattle on your table. From park raccoons raiding bins to whales breaching far offshore. As urban sprawl spreads, many species shift climates while others retreat. Scientific studies show that North American mammals now live in climates warmer and drier than those they evolved in, yet they persist. We are interwoven. Mammals thrive and diminish because of the choices we make every day. Into tomorrow with care and respect. Now, drift again to soft forest edge or sea breeze. Hear the vast return of birdsong and the distant call of orcas. Feel the pulsing life of fields, forests, and oceans. Let this sense of connection ground your sleep. Your slumber, their tomorrow. Tonight, rest with the understanding that caring for mammalian kin helps repair a world once scarred by industry. Know that every drop of effort, policy, reforestation, wildlife rescue, echoes like a heartbeat through time. Sleep now upon Earth's arms, soft, warm, and full of lives yet to live. Part 18, Intimate Lives, Mammals Close to Us and the Future We Share. Settle in deeply now, with each breath a soft invitation into a realm where mammal biology, climate change, and conservation converge with gentle urgency. This chapter glides through their closest connections with us, small yet potent beings that shape ecosystems, the threats they face, and the hope we carry together toward tomorrow. The unseen architects of life. Not all mammalian influence is grand in scale. Many of the most essential ecosystem services come from small, often overlooked species: bats that pollinate at dusk, mice that bury seeds and feed the soil, primates that disperse fruit across forest floors. Quiet, persistent participants in nature's design. Their influence extends from understory to canopy, keeping entire systems in balance. Wolves, beavers, and the power of return. Rewilding teaches us that mammal presence, or absence, can reshape entire landscapes. In Yellowstone, the reintroduction of gray wolves restored balance. Their presence altered elk behavior, allowing willow and aspen regeneration along riverbanks, which in turn supported songbirds and even beavers, ecosystems renewed through the ripple effect of one species. Reviving desert mammals, the Bedtime comeback. In Australia, a heartening success story unfolds. Over the past decade, conservationists have reintroduced bilbies, bandicoots, and now brush-tailed betongs to Sturt National Park. Released into predator-free sanctuaries, they reclaim the land as ecosystem engineers, turning soil, dispersing seeds, and bringing life back. Their return whispers of redemption in place-based restoration. Mammals as climate guardians. A herd of just 170 European bison roaming Romania's Tarcu Mountains now sequesters carbon at a scale comparable to removing tens of thousands of cars from the road. Their grazing patterns and movement enrich soils and promote plant diversity, proving that restoring mammals can also help us restore climate balance. A fragmented future, risks and warnings. But not all stories are hopeful. The bramble K. melamis, a small rodent endemic to a tiny Australian cay, was the first mammal declared extinct due to climate-induced sea level rise, an early warning of how warming systems can snuff out lives quietly and irreversibly. The American pika, sensitive to temperatures above 25.5 degrees Celsius, retreats to cool crevices but faces extinction where climate forces it beyond its escape routes, mountain islands, unable to shrink or expand with warming. Islands harbor many unique mammals with long lifespans and specialized diets. Traits that place them at extreme risk as the world warms. Shrinking habitats, rising threats. Since 1700, mammals have lost an average of 18% of their natural habitat, and projections show losses may climb to up to 23% by 2100 depending on how societies respond. With human-wildlife overlap expanding, the coming decades may raise risks of conflict, resource competition, and biodiversity loss unless we act. Species with long lives and few offspring, like many large mammals, are particularly vulnerable to climate stress, making rapid adaptation or intervention critical. Innovations in conservation, AI, to extinction, and beyond. Science now offers tools beyond boots on ground. AI and machine learning combined with drones and cameras allow real-time monitoring of elephants and endangered species, a 21st-century ally for data-driven protection. Some seek to reverse extinction. Companies like Colossal Biosciences are exploring de-extinction, like recreating woolly mammoths. But critics urge caution. Many argue we must first focus on saving what remains before recreating the lost. Convergent evolution, the anteater example. Life adapts in fascinating ways. Anteater-like mammals, pangolins, aardvarks, echidnas, evolved this way independently at least 12 times across the globe, ranging from Africa to Australia, all shaped by the shared niche of ant and termite feeding. Their long tongues and defensive traits are reminders that evolution can repeat itself when the environment calls. Our shared horizon. Sleep now and imagine the hidden impact of a bat pollinating flowers just under dusk's edge, the quiet shift in rivers as beavers build dams, the return of seed-dispersing marsupials to Aussie grasslands. Think of AI listening and responding to call of elephants, of scientists working to help habitats shift with warming zones. You rest beneath the breath of ecosystems. In your slumber, may the hope of rewilded futures rise within you. Part 19, Futures Untold. Mammals and Earth in 2100 and beyond. Let your breath slow and soften, like snow drifting to a silent ground. Close your eyes and lift your mind into the unfolding future, toward a horizon shaped by our choices and the resilience of life. Tonight, we step forward in time to the year 2100, to imagine the world our small descendants will inherit, and the mammals who may or may not walk it. A planet in transition. The turn toward the 22nd century finds Earth reshaped by rising temperatures and shifting climates. Ocean levels have risen, patterns of precipitation and drought have redrawn rivers and forests. Many mammal species now dwell in climates radically different from where they evolved. Some survive, but many endure by barely keeping pace. By mid-century, habitat range loss grows. In Africa and South America, mammalian habitats shrink by a projected 5 to 16%, with cold regions especially affected. Turn zero search zero. Globally, by 2100, species may lose up to 23% of the natural habitat range they'd held just 2 centuries ago. The result, smaller distribution, denser populations, and greater vulnerability. Risk factors multiply. Species differ in their responses. Smaller mammals, with fast reproduction, may adapt more easily. Larger, long-lived mammals, such as whales or elephants, are more vulnerable. Overall, up to 1,057 non-marine mammal species, about 20%, face compounded risk factors across climate, habitat loss, and human conflict by century's end. The future will test the resilience of life in ways both subtle and stark. Not extinction, but decline. We're not imagining immediate extinction waves, but a gradual thinning of mammals across landscapes. Musk oxen, though once confined to Arctic isolation, are now beset by new diseases thriving in warming environments. In the Canadian Arctic, populations have halved. Greenland's herds still hold, but warming threatens even those refuges. The American pika, an indicator of alpine fragility, struggles above 25.5 degrees Celsius. Without cooler refuges, many populations shrink or vanish. The sloth, slow and metabolically constrained, faces lethal heat stresses by the end of the century, especially high-altitude populations that cannot migrate. Now imagine dozens of species declining in silence, slow withdrawal from lands they once claimed. Marine mammals, threats deep below. Half the planet lies submerged. Ocean mammals now face threats beyond habitat. Whales and dolphins contending with warming seas, chemical changes, and rising industrial noise find communication and feeding disrupted. Over 70% of marine mammal stocks in U.S. waters are now threatened. Here, survival depends on cooler oceans, clearer waters, and reduced human noise, a fragile hope. Climate brings smaller mammals. As per recent modeling, widespread body size decline may occur across mammals by 2100, up to 10 to 21% smaller than before. As adaptation to heat shapes size and metabolism, bodies must grow smaller to ward off thermal stress. Many of Earth's mammals may become smaller not by wish, but by necessity. A future begun with loss. Humans aren't absent from this future. In 2015, the bramble K. melames became the first mammal extinct due to climate-driven sea level rise, lost forever from an island no larger than 5 acres. It should warn us, loss can happen quietly, in small worlds. Climate change and growing human demand also continue to shrink habitats. An overwhelming portion of mammals may lose range by 2100, especially those in tropical biodiversity hotspots. Life persists, if we let it. Even as so many paths narrow, the last threads of hope twist and grow. Fossils show how mammals have adapted diets across climate swings, hinting that adaptation may again be possible, even as speed matters more than magnitude. New technologies, like AI monitoring, gene conservation, and restored habitats, provide tools for action, though debates about ethics and priorities remain sharp. We can recover if we act wisely. Echoes of hope amid challenge. As you drift closer to rest, picture this. A shrinking savanna, still grazed by smaller herds. Alpine glaciers shrinking, with pikas retreating toward cold stream beds. Arctic seas warming, whales rare but still breathing beneath broken ice. Forests reshaped, fragmented, yes, but also corridors for new species to spread. Let the image of life crafting itself amid rapid change be your lullaby. Rest with responsibility. Sleep now, under the quiet hum of tomorrow. Let your mind hold both caution and potential. The future may not be lost, our choices now gently wield its direction. For in your dreams lie the echo of life's endurance. Part 20, A Whisper Beyond, What the Mammals of Earth Teach Us Tonight and Forever. Let your breath slow further, as though you're breathing with the earth itself. Drift into tonight's closing chapter. A time of quiet wisdom, where every mammal's story becomes a whisper echoing through history, urging us to reflect, to cherish, and to protect. Echoes from Earth's gentle beasts. Mammals emerged from humble beginnings, small, quiet, shrouded in shadow, and over deep time grew into the giants of ice, snow, forest, and plain. Yet, whether grand or small, each species held meaning within life's tapestry. Now, they teach us resilience and adaptation. From tiny shrews to woolly mammoths, mammals adapted to crises, surviving extinctions, warming climates, and shifting landscapes. They remind us that life's will to endure is mighty, but fragile too. Let their steps become our guide toward resilience in uncertain times. Ecosystems woven by the smallest lives. Bats that pollinate night blooms, beavers that reshape forests, rodents that renew soil, they're the unacknowledged architects of life. Conservation International calls biodiversity critical not as a concept, but as life support. For clean water, fertile soil, pollinators, and steady climates. Rejecting extinction's silence. As David Attenborough warned, humans now hold unmatched power over all living beings. Our responsibility, whether to save Antarctica's whales or a solitary pika, echoes through every ecosystem. The spirit of conservation. Efforts to protect mammals, from U.S. legislation like the Endangered Species Act to global initiatives, reflect a growing awareness that saving habitats is saving ourselves. The impact is real. Reintroduced wolves healing Yellowstone's rivers. Bison returning to European hills. Betongs reshaping Australia's deserts. Whale populations recovering along silent coastlines, all signs that healing is possible. Still, challenges remain. While some mammals thrive, others retreat, side by side with rising seas and warming air. Fully funding conservation remains urgent. Without it, up to a third of species could vanish by 2070. What mammals teach us tonight? Shared vulnerability. Every mammal, from the tiniest marsupial to the tallest giraffe, faces risks from our choices. Their stories urge respect, humility, and accountability. Nature's practice in balance. Systems recover when ecosystem architects return, like beavers, wolves, or elephants. Mammals model rebalancing, revealing the power of interlinked life. Hope in every breath. In stories of recovery, resilience blooms. There is room for more habitat restoration, species protection, responsible coexistence. A whisper linger in your sleep. Now, rest beneath that whisper of mammalian wisdom. A bat brushes soft wings against night's hush. A deer steps across moonlit glade, silent and aware. Wolves howl at distant peaks. Our own breath settles around them as we dream. Sleep with the knowledge that life, so miraculous and varied, still pulses within us all. Final lullaby, guardians of tomorrow. As this chapter closes, remember. Our land is big enough to hold us all, if we respect the wild we share. Steve Irwin. May that truth rest gently in your mind as sleep carries you away. Well, that was a lot. Thank you for tuning into Background Historian once again. Please leave a comment to see what topic you'd like to see covered next. This goes without saying, but I hope you enjoy a good night's sleep, and I hope to see you next time. Good night.